In this video, we're going to talk about why this unloved niche is actually my favorite niche. Stay tuned, you're going to love this. What's up, Tim Sykes, millionaire mentor and trader here, talking about what I love, penny stocks. While the whole world pretty much hates on penny stocks, I love them. My top students and I have made millions of dollars. Not billions of dollars. I know that Wall Street doesn't think it's cool unless you make billions of dollars. But frankly, none of my top students or I are that smart. You have to know your limitations in life. And I know that might sound weird because everyone on YouTube wants to pretend to be an expert and know everything. I know enough to know what I don't know. Yes, I was a philosophy major in college. Cheers to philosophy for keeping me humble and letting me think outside the box. Why am I saying all this? Because most people on Wall Street are trading Forex, this big liquid market where you can use a lot of leverage and you can theoretically make millions in one day. You can also lose millions, like 90% of traders do. And most traders are trading big company options in big companies themselves. Again, you don't have that much edge. Penny stocks, it's like fishing in a small pond. Okay, the rest of Wall Street is like deep sea fishing. You know, you can get those big tunas, you can get like the big prize winning fish that you take pictures of, versus me and my top students, we're fishing in this small pond and we have like little fish that we're catching like this big, right? That's reality. The good news is if you catch a little fish every day, every few days, I don't necessarily trade every day, but every few days with very little competition, it adds up to a lot over time, as opposed to big sea fishermen where sometimes you go out and you don't catch anything and you wasted hours. So for me, I like fishing in my small pond. What does that mean in real terms, in reality? Sometimes I make 50 bucks, sometimes I make 500, sometimes I make 5,000 in a day. My average trading profit over 20 plus years is less than $2,000 on a trade. People on Wall Street look down on that. They say, oh, $2,000, $3,000 is terrible. I spoke at a conference a few months ago because of my big mouth, because I've been on a few TV shows, I get invited to speak. And next to me on the panel are like billionaires and big traders. And they're talking about, you know, macroeconomics and China and gold, all this kind of deep sea fishing type industry stuff, if you want to use that analogy, where you don't have any edge whatsoever. Anybody can make a guess. And if you're trading with other people's money, if you're trading with leverage, you might be right and you might be paid a lot. But they're not necessarily trading with a small stake and they're not necessarily just trading their own money. For me, I trade my own money. I don't manage anybody else's money. I actually donate all my trading profits to charity. So I'm on this panel. They're talking about all their guessing games. They have no idea if they're right or not. It's like 50-50 on every topic. And I talked about my trade that day where I made $375. Actually got out a little too quickly because I was literally trading right before the panel. Probably could have made about 1,000. But for me, this was a typical trade. It was a first green day, former supernova. Stock was moving, breaking out to new highs. That was it. And I made a few $100. This is what I've been doing for 20 plus years. I don't win every time, but I win roughly 2/3 of the time. My wins are bigger than my losses. My winning percentage is bigger than my percent losing percentage. I don't know. I told you I wasn't that smart. We're not going to edit this at all. This is just me talking to you. The point is, the millionaires and billionaires, as I'm talking about my small trade, are laughing. Literally laughing. I should actually try to find this footage. I don't even know where it is. But they're laughing at me because they thought I was talking about a little trade of 375,000, right? They're like, oh, only 375,000? Like, is that trade even worth talking about in front of this audience? And I'm like, no, not 375,000, $375. At which point they laughed even more. They think small gains are a joke. And I am so grateful for them being such stuck up asses. Can I say that on YouTube? Good. They are stuck up asses. They are snobs. They look down on $375. Leave a comment below. Would you like to make $375 in a day? And be honest. It's okay if you're a snob. I know lots of snobs. There's lots of you guys out there and girls. But for me, I'm from a small town in Connecticut. And $375, especially, as I said in this story, had I not been speaking on the conference, I might have made $1,000. But $375 in a few minutes on a high odds trade and on pattern that I know where I'm only risking, what did I put in? Like $4,000. I think I made like 10%. That's a good trade. And if you do that kind of trade over and over and over again, sometimes you lose $50. Sometimes you might lose $100. Sometimes you'll make $1,000. But again, if you win more than you lose on a percentage basis and your dollar gains are bigger than your dollar losses, your account grows. What do 90% of traders in the markets do? Lose! They lose. Most traders lose. So you can be a billionaire snob, you can be a millionaire snob, you can trade for others, you can bet on these 50-50 guessing games and be right half the time and think that you're a genius. I prefer fishing in my small pond. Why are penny stocks easier? Because there's not much competition. None of those millionaires or billionaires that were speaking at the conference, or even many of the losers in the audience, they still wouldn't trade penny stocks because they're snobs. I love it. It's like dumpster diving. If I was a homeless person and I don't want to spend a lot of money at this Michelin-starred restaurant and all these people are forking over $200-300 for a price fix meal, and the meals are so tiny at a lot of these Michelin-starred restaurants, and let's say I'm homeless and I just sit outside in the back, wait for these small portions to be delivered to the dumpster, and then I eat out of the dumpster for free. I'm basically like that dumpster diver person as a trader, okay? You still get the same food, you just don't have to necessarily pay for all the glitz and glamour and all the BS snobbery that exists on Wall Street. Penny stocks are very volatile. They move very quickly. It's not as unpredictable as you might think. I'm going to post some links to some of my favorite patterns below. You're going to learn about morning panic dip buys. You're going to learn about first green days. You're going to learn about shorting first red days. Yes, you can short penny stocks. I haven't shorted any stock in nearly 2 years right now because it's been a bubble and I like living a stress-free life. But I've made millions of dollars in the past shorting a lot of these penny stocks. Why? Because these companies suck. These companies will fail. Unlike trying to guess what is the new worth of this new tool that Google just developed. Is this going to take down Facebook? Guessing games. I don't have to worry about that. Penny stocks are pretty much all failures in the long run. You don't have to guess, okay? Picture the stupidest person that you've met. Picture the most, drug addicted, alcohol addicted, liar, degenerate gambler, like the biggest loser that you know. If they were a stock, they would be a penny stock. This is what I like to trade. Why? Because you know who they are. You know how bad they are. They're not going to surprise you with how bad they are. Oh, did this drug-addicted gambler who's in debt up to $5 million just try to rob a liquor store so that he could pay for his, next fix? Not a surprise. I expected that out of him. He's a loser. Just for an example. I'm sorry to make fun of people who might be in your life. But that's the reality of penny stocks. I'm trading these terrible, terrible companies that we know are going to fail in the long run, but at which point we know that they're also going to try to succeed in the short term. Picture that drug-addicted felon trying to get help, trying to get therapy, trying to change. Maybe, God bless their heart, maybe they will change, but most likely they'll fall back into their same routine, okay? Penny stocks try. They try to hype themselves up. The promoters try to lure in the newbies, but most likely they're just going to fail and go back to zero. And the beautiful thing is that if you study these penny stocks enough, you can see the same pattern over and over and over again, and you begin to expect the worst out of them. I know this is a cynical way of thinking. I know that you might think that I'm a short seller, but I haven't shorted because it's very stressful right now during the bubble of 2020 and 2021. A lot of penny stocks, even outright scams, are spiking big, not due to logic, not due to anything rational, but because of so many stimulus check-funded accounts that have been opened up at junk brokers like Robinhood. And all that dumb money is buying these dumb companies. And all that dumb money will eventually lose all their dumb money, and all the dumb companies will eventually fail too. So there probably will be some good shorting opportunities in the future. But for now, during this bubble, I ride the pumps. I just never believe them. Okay? Be cynical. Expect the worst. Listen to my weird ass analogies, but trade penny stocks because they're easier, because they're more predictable, because, again, as I said, is $375 in a day enough for you? Leave a comment if it is. If it isn't, it's okay. I know a lot of snobs who look down on a few $100s. I know a lot of snobs who look down on a few $1,000s. They think they need all this money, they need all this stuff. You don't, okay? I actually gave a TED talk on why I'll never be a billionaire. I have a few $1 million in my bank account. I donate the rest to charity. That's all you need to have a really good life. I know a lot of ultra rich people. I know some billionaires who are miserable. They can't trust anybody in their life. In this TED talk, I actually had like an animation, and I had like this ball and chain on the rich person's leg because wealth became a prison to them. You don't need to make that much money to be happy. And let's be real, you're watching me, you're probably not that smart. I'm not that smart. My top students aren't that smart. Be realistic about who you are. Recognize your limitations. Take the few $100s in a predictable market and enjoy life. Much more than anybody who's obsessed with making too much money and they actually become a slave to the market. Even though they think that they're so smart, they're not living the one life that they have. Why trade penny stocks? For all those reasons. Leave a comment below if you want to learn how to make $375 in a day. That's what I teach.